In July 2025, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton's personal life erupted into headlines once again. His wife, State Senator Angela Paxton, filed for divorce after 38 years of marriage, citing biblical grounds and recent discoveries. The timing couldn't be more sensitive, as Ken Paxton eyes a run for the U.S. Senate, challenging incumbent John Cornyn in the Republican primary. The dissolution of a long-standing marriage threatens to tarnish not only his public image, but also his reputation among the evangelical base that helped keep him in power. This new personal crisis follows years of legal troubles, political controversy, and fierce loyalty from his supporters. To understand the full weight of this moment, one must look back at the life and career of Ken Paxton, a man whose legacy has been defined by both passionate conservatism and persistent scandal. Warren Kenneth Paxton Jr. was born on December 23, 1962, in Minot, North Dakota. His father was in the U.S. Air Force, so the family moved frequently, eventually settling in Texas. Ken grew up in a religious and disciplined household, deeply influenced by Christian conservative values. After graduating from Baylor University with a BA in psychology and later an MBA, he earned his Juris Doctor from the University of Virginia School of Law. Early in his legal career, Paxton worked in private practice and then entered the political arena with a vision of advancing traditional conservative ideals. He began his political career in 2002, winning a seat in the Texas House of Representatives. Over the next decade, he carved out a reputation as a reliable voice for limited government, religious liberty, and constitutional originalism. In 2012, he successfully ran for a seat in the Texas Senate. His conservative record and grassroots connections made him a popular figure among Tea Party activists, positioning him for a statewide run. In 2014, Ken Paxton ran for and won the office of Texas Attorney General. As the state's top lawyer, he quickly became a central figure in Texas's legal battles against the federal government. His office filed dozens of lawsuits challenging federal regulations on immigration, environmental protections, healthcare mandates, and labor rules. His legal crusades often painted him as a hero to conservatives, someone willing to stand toe-to-toe with Washington bureaucrats. Among his most prominent cases were legal challenges to the Affordable Care Act, the DACA immigration program, and Obama-era climate change rules. He also defended the state's voter ID laws and backed efforts to restrict abortion access. Under his leadership, the Texas Attorney General's office became a national symbol of resistance to Democratic administrations, especially during the Obama and Biden years. Paxton's loyalty to former President Donald Trump further cemented his standing among far-right voters. After the 2020 presidential election, he led an unprecedented lawsuit asking the U.S. Supreme Court to invalidate results from 4 battleground states won by Joe Biden. Though the court refused to hear the case, the move earned Paxton widespread praise from Trump supporters and criticism from legal scholars. However, behind the image of the crusading Attorney General, legal trouble was brewing. In 2015, just months after taking office, Paxton was indicted on 3 felony charges related to securities fraud. He was accused of misleading investors in a technology company without properly disclosing his own financial stake. Despite the indictment, Paxton remained in office and claimed the charges were politically motivated. The case dragged on for years with numerous delays, appeals, and procedural disputes. Ultimately, in 2023, the charges were dismissed as part of a settlement agreement in which Paxton agreed to pay restitution. But his legal troubles didn't end there. In 2020, 8 of his top aides accused him of using his office to benefit a wealthy real estate developer, Nate Paul, who had donated to Paxton's campaign. The allegations included bribery, abuse of office, and obstruction of justice. The whistleblowers were later fired or resigned, and some sued the state, eventually receiving a $3.3 million settlement, a payout that raised eyebrows, especially since Paxton wanted taxpayer funds to cover it. The controversy culminated in 2023 when the Texas House of Representatives voted overwhelmingly to impeach Paxton, citing multiple abuses of power. The articles of impeachment detailed how Paxton allegedly intervened in legal matters to protect his donor, used burner phones, and hid an extramarital affair with a woman connected to the donor's business interests. The Texas Senate held a trial later that year. Angela Paxton, now a state senator, was barred from voting in the proceedings but was present during the trial. Ultimately, the Senate acquitted Ken Paxton on all charges, allowing him to return to office. The acquittal was seen as a major political victory, although it came with significant reputational damage. The affair, long rumored, was now public knowledge. While Ken Paxton remained defiant, many within his religious and political circles began to question whether his personal conduct aligned with the values he publicly championed. His wife, Angela, remained publicly supportive until July 2025, when she filed for divorce, citing moral and spiritual grievances. The divorce filing stunned many in Texas politics. Angela and Ken had long presented themselves as a unified force, grounded in shared faith and conservative activism. Her decision to sever their marriage marked a significant shift, both personally and politically. At the same time, Ken Paxton was mounting a primary challenge against sitting U.S. Senator John Cornyn. Backed by Donald Trump and fueled by grassroots enthusiasm, Paxton's campaign positioned him as the anti-establishment choice. Early polling showed him with a commanding lead over Cornyn, but the divorce scandal has cast a shadow over his momentum. Voters who once admired Paxton for his moral clarity now wrestle with the contradiction between his words and actions. Ken Paxton's political strategy has always leaned into confrontation against the federal government, against liberal judges, and now against the Republican establishment. He has framed his legal battles as fights for freedom, faith, and Texas values. To his supporters, he's a principled warrior. To his critics, he's a symbol of political hypocrisy. The question in 2026 is whether voters will be swayed more by his record or his personal failings. Angela's silence has spoken volumes. Though she hasn't publicly attacked her husband, her legal filing and decision to divorce suggest deep fractures long hidden beneath the surface. For many Texans, especially those in evangelical communities, the collapse of a high-profile Christian marriage has forced reflection. Can a man lead a state or a nation when he has lost control of his own home? Ken Paxton's journey is emblematic of the broader tensions in modern American conservatism, a collision between traditional morality and political ambition, between personal conduct and public power. Whether he wins or loses the Senate primary, his legacy is already written in contradictions. A skilled legal operator and a scandal-plagued politician, a defender of Christian values and a man accused of betraying them. As of mid-2025, Ken Paxton remains a key figure in Texas politics, navigating campaign stops, courtrooms, and now divorce proceedings. His story continues to evolve, shaped as much by the law as by the very human failures it seeks to govern. What remains to be seen is whether voters will judge him for the victories he secured or the values he may have compromised along the way.